Welcome back to the channel, guys. Fresh to Death Jeff again here again with another video. Like I said, we ain't gonna stop. We're going straight to the top. And today we're gonna be talking about breaking free from that 9 to 5, also living paycheck to paycheck, and how I've overcome many different obstacles on the way there, able to do things that you want, whenever you want, however you want, and having basically total control of your life, and essentially being able to do also things that you want to do whenever you want to do them. If you haven't done so already, please comment, like, subscribe, because we need to keep these videos going. Let's get straight into the video. The first thing I want to talk about, to keep going, things that essentially inspired me was the freedom that came behind of, finally essentially putting in that 2-week notice and essentially quitting my job, because they knew I was like doing this job where I was like working on my own. I was studying there, I was doing what I had to do, and I was like studying so essentially I could leave this job and do what I really wanted to do, which was sell insurance. At the time when I put my 2 weeks notice in, I felt like I was free. Like it was like a moment of like, I don't really have to be here or be at this job and have to sacrifice my time and essentially do whatever I wanted to do. Essentially, I knew I had to obviously go to work and make that money and stuff like that to be able to pay your bills and whatnot. But essentially, it was the freedom that inspired me to be able to, leave my job and be able to not really have to worry about a steady paycheck. Like I said before as well, I didn't really have a lot of responsibilities at the time. So that was another thing as well. Make someone have that fear, like, how am I gonna pay the next bill? Essentially at that point, yes, I didn't have, but I was making enough to where I knew I could survive on my own, pay my bills. I had enough saved up for a couple months, and I could pay my bills and also move on my own and do everything I had to do on my own. So that's really what inspired me. Also, I would say just the people around me that I was friends with at the time. When I got into the business of insurance, I also met a whole bunch of a different group of people that had a different mindset. So that's also something that inspired me, having different types of people around you to be able to motivate you to do the things that you're scared to do, to take that jump, whatever it may be. It doesn't always have to be your job. It could be having to go to the gym, studying, researching, going to school, taking that leap of faith to do something that you're not really comfortable with. And those are the type of people that you really need around you. Once the people that realize that you're doing all these things, then those people will start to fade away, and you'll start to notice that you'll gain some kind of like momentum because you're doing things that you normally wouldn't do. And the people that don't like those things, or not necessarily don't like those things, but they don't really associate themselves with having to, whether it's motivating, this discipline, or just trying to be a better person, they don't really like associate themselves with that kind of mindset and stuff like that. So they'll kind of eventually just fade away over time, and you'll start to notice that. And it's just, some people are just either choose to be negative and choose to be positive, and you'll gravitate more so to the positive side. Also, essentially having to overcome the fear is another thing that I want to talk about. Overcoming the fear of whether or not you'll be able to make a check or not. That's also something that motivated me to be able to do better and to be able to just become a better individual, because it was so hard when I had those moments where I had my back against the wall and I was like, I didn't make how much I was making. Maybe this week it was a really bad week. I wasn't making as much as I was being a housekeeper this week. I should go back to working, a regular job, because this is not looking too good. But that's when you realize, is it worth your freedom going back to a job? Is it worth going back to that stuck mentality where now you're in that comfort zone? You're comfortable where you're at and stuff like that. And I did have those challenges. I did have to go back into that job. I did have to find myself, re-looping myself and going and realizing that, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be stuck at this job. I don't want to feel like this. I don't want to feel depressed. I don't want to be miserable. And those are the things that you start to question yourself with, whether it's really worth your time. You could be putting all this energy and all this time into something else that's going to either double your income, triple your income. And it might be, not right away, but essentially the goal is to eventually get there if you stay consistent. That's obviously why I'm here on YouTube. YouTube is something that I've been wanting to do for many, many years. I've been doing it for many, many years. If I would have stayed consistent since I was in middle school till now, I would be much further, obviously way further. Who knows, that could have been blown up by now, but obviously those are the things that we have to deal with over time. The distractions, the partying, the having the fun, not going to the gym, all these things add up, and essentially you get distracted from the overall goal. But like I said, not to lose track where I was at, overcoming the fear of, how are you going to be able to maintain this lifestyle? How are you going to be able to maintain the fear of not having a steady paycheck? Is realizing that you're going to have to put in the work, essentially, and you're going to have to go twice as hard. Because being self-employed and not having a steady paycheck, that if you go to work, you have to be there from 9 to 5, 3 to 11, 7 to 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., whatever it is your shift is. If you're an entrepreneur and you're self-employed, you never stop working. It's always on the go. It's always trying to think about new ideas, trying to think about new things to do, whether it's your business, whether it's your habits, your routine. All these things have to align together. That way it'll work, and it'll keep the ball rolling, essentially. So it's never like, you might have a bad week, but you're also, it's like the stock market. What goes up must come down. So it's never always constantly going up. That's not realistic. So it has to come down at some point. You're going to have a bad week at some point, but that it's only going to go up from there. And that's pretty much how I overcame the fear, of how am I going to make it to the next week. So another thing I wanted to talk about is the biggest challenges. It comes as being as, a self-employed person who's not living paycheck to paycheck. It's really challenging yourself to become better every single day. What's one thing that you're gonna do tomorrow that was better than you did today? Just trying to improve yourself tomorrow 1% better. That you're making progress of some sort. Just try to do something better the next day that you could have done today or you could have done yesterday to get you to the next level. Whether that's just implementing something into your business, whether that's trying to expand your business, whether that's trying to reach out to another client, whether that's trying to start a new business, trying to come up with many different ways. Now, don't get lost, but trying to come up with many different ways to be able to expand yourself, whether that's just as easy as going to the gym, like I said before multiple times, whether that's just helping someone, it's all about expanding your knowledge, your consistency, your discipline, and all that ties in together into one. Once you realize that, then you know that you can overcome really any challenge. But the biggest challenge is essentially realizing that you have to face multiple obstacles. Obviously, it's a famous quote, more money, more problems. I remember when I was working at McDonald's, the manager at McDonald's at the time, I told him this was when I was leaving McDonald's, and I put my 2 weeks of notice, and I was like, I'm finally quitting McDonald's. I was so excited. I'm going to work at Pitney Bowes, which I was talking about in the other videos, which is a manufacturing company. And he was like, just know, once you leave from here, obviously you're going to look for more money, and you're going to want more money. With more money comes more problems. And to this day, I will never forget that, because he was not lying. I didn't understand at the time. I was just so naive, but now I definitely get that. And because every day it's just a consistent battle, with yourself, and it's a consistent challenge, trying to face those obstacles and stuff like that, and just trying to jump over those things, knowing that it's going to constantly be up and down. So if you can face that challenge and you can, battle that, you'll definitely be on the right path where you need to get to. How can someone define success? How I define success is someone basically who entirely has full control, I feel like, of their schedule, and also is being able to maintain their entire, lifestyle on one trajectory, whether that's, their job, their business, being able to go to the gym, their family, their relationship with God, everything of that nature. If you combine that into one person, and this person's taking care of all those things, and at the same time, essentially, I know a lot of people do need help. Like, I live with my girl. She helps me out a lot with a lot of things as well. It's just not myself, but a lot of people are on their own 100%. And I can honestly say, if you're on that path, it's twice as hard. Essentially, either way, it's still going to be hard regardless. But if you have all those things, I feel like you're definitely on the right path to success, or you at least have a general idea of what success looks like. So if you have all those things aligned with what you're aiming towards, and I feel like you have a good path ahead of yourself to get to where you need to get to. So now, a lot of also misconceptions that people might have with being self-employed is realizing that you come across a lot of people that start to kind of question how does this really work, whether that's friends, families, maybe strangers as well. Like they start to question, like, are you actually like, making money? How does this even work? Is what you're doing legit? How do you even get paid? How often is it? How much is it? All these questions is like, are you even able to survive off of what you're making? Maybe you should go get a job. Maybe you should do this. Maybe you should do that. But the thing is that they have no idea of like what your actual goal is. You might have a bad week, and they didn't realize that you had such a good week the week before. They just think about that one week that you had a bad week that you were maybe complained about, or you were talking about in a negative way, but they didn't realize that you had 2 or 3 good weeks right before that. So it's like people will only see and have a negative connotation over the fact that you had a bad week, but they didn't realize it took you 3-4 good weeks just to get to that bad week. And then knowing that you're about to bounce back the next 2-3 weeks. So it's all about, just being able to overcome that, not being able to feed into it essentially, and be able to let yourself down because you hear this person saying that, or he say, whatever the case is. You'll get a lot of misconception about like whether you're able to sustain your lifestyle, whether this is not the right path for you, whether you should go back to school. And you're gonna get a lot of questions like that over time, trying to become this self-employed, this entrepreneur person. And that just comes with it essentially. You're gonna deal with that even at your best days, even at your worst days. Along the way, it's just gonna be continuously just, go through those obstacles and those hurdles. But one day you're gonna be like, oh wow, you actually did it. You actually got to this level. You actually did this in the third, and it's all gonna be worth it at the end. So it's really high risk, high reward type of thing. But as long as you're willing to take that bet, that's really all that matters, to be honest, at the end of the day. I know I mentioned this already before. Now, there's going to take a lot of habits and a lot of routines to get where you need to get to, whether that's a high goal, whether that's a small goal, whether that's just moving outside of your state. A lot of habits and routines that I felt that I built up over the time was just consistently doing the same thing over and over and over again, not really focusing on a lot of distractions and focusing on whatever it is that you have in front of you at that time. Also, I noticed that a lot of distractions come when you procrastinate. You start to focus on things that really don't matter, and that can also hold you back from reaching your goals. Building really consistent habits, again, I'll say it again, going to the gym, that's something that helped me essentially, definitely. The gym is one of the number one thing right there. And that was after I got into sales. The gym just came right after that. So that was pretty great that I discovered, trying to maintain not only my financial status, but also my health status. So once you have also, this is another thing to go back to someone who's successful, that I define as successful, is someone who can fully take control of their health, someone who has their financials aligned, someone who has a good relationship with God, and then also someone who is, connected with their relationship with other people, whether that's their friends, their families, and their loved ones. If you can really take control of all 4 of those things, then you're really on the right path. And that's the main goal for sure right there. Just making a routine around all those 4 things, that's really going to take you as far as possible. So focus on those 4 things, on your habits, around those things, and you should definitely be right where you need to get to. Now, even though you're trying to do all these things, I've tried to do all these things, I'm still doing all these things, it's finding the right balance. I feel like people tend to try to focus too much on like the end result, or like the end goal, like whether that's YouTube, like, reaching 100,000, 1 million views, and trying to get to like, such and such subscribers, such and such ads, whatever the case is, or however much money you're trying to make, whether it's 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, $1 million, whether that's, becoming a bodybuilder, benching 500 pounds, like all these things are like great, don't get me wrong, but that's not really like the goal. The goal is the journey. Like, it's never about the destination, it's really about the journey, how you got there, what you overcame throughout that time, and how many mistakes you made along the way, and how you overcame those mistakes, and what you learned along the way, what you taught others, how you got there. How did your faith grow upon that journey? And that's what really matters. That's what's crucial to becoming this person that you want to become. and you want to inspire others as well to do the same thing maybe, or at least give that little bit of motivation to get to where they want to get to. It might not be obviously this really, really big thing, but it might be something as small as just starting to go to the gym, starting this new job, becoming self-employed for the first time, dropping their first YouTube video. Small things like that, can really, really go a long way. And that's something that's really, really beneficial, not only for, for the people around you, but for yourself, for your self-esteem, and to help you grow as a person. So I think that balance is really essential. And having that, whether that's when you have your good times, when you have your bad times, that's really a good thing to, put that all together and essentially not burn yourself out, because you need a balance. You need to realize when to have fun, when to put the things aside. Essentially, as you're growing, it's going to be really hard to have those fun times, but that's how you don't burn out. Because as a self-employed person, as an entrepreneur for the last, I've been about I would say 7-8 years. I've been pretty much self-employed, like an entrepreneur. I can honestly say I've had a balance where if I'm having a really, really bad, difficult week, a bad couple weeks, a bad month, whatever the case is, and I'm really, really down, I'm still going to the gym. I'm still eating healthy. I'm still, praying. I'm still trying to be a good person. I'm still trying to do the best I can possibly be when trying to, reach ultimately the goal as well, even if I had a really, really bad time, a really bad week, a really bad month, whatever the case is. As long as you have that balance, you should be, like I said, still on the right path. One also mistake that I will say that I've made along the way is definitely putting too much risk on the table. There's been a lot of times where I just risked way too much money for maybe of an investment, whether that was trading, or whether that was the markets, whatever it was, just taking too much risk. And also, I want to add on in there another mistake I would make is probably procrastinating. That's one of my major things that I've always struggled with, just leaving everything to the last minute. Today, I just faced an issue as well, that I procrastinated on something, and I'll talk about that in another video. But it came out with the good as well. So it's a balance, like I said. So don't procrastinate. Realize that things need to get done whenever you can get them done. Try to jump on that and get that done as soon as possible, because if you don't, it's just a snowball effect, and you don't want that. So it'll just get worse over time if you don't control that, but try to have a balance, like I said, with procrastination. I know it's something that we try not to do, but it always comes back and bites us in the butt. But yeah, that's definitely one mistake right there. I would say procrastination, and also it's putting too much risk on the table, but I'm a high risk taker, so it is what it is. Also, I want to talk about how it's been very rewarding at the end of the day. The most rewarding part is having those really good weeks. Like right now, I'm having one of the best weeks, to be honest. Business all around. I'm just doing a lot of things at the same time, getting a lot of things done, getting things back on track where they need to get to, and I'm just starting off the year at full throttle. I'm going at 150 right now, 200 right now, miles per hour. I'm just zooming. But that's because I'm writing down my goals. I'm putting down notes. I'm thinking ahead of time of what I'm gonna get done, and I'm gonna actually do it, and I'm not gonna let nothing stop me. So once you get that in order, you realize that oh shit, you're fucking dangerous now. It's no joke. It's you're moving, you're moving fast. So and people start to get left behind. So it gets kind of crazy, to be honest. Once you reach that, it's okay, now we're moving. Now we're getting where we need to get to, and now we're on the right trajectory for sure. So definitely rewarding when you see those good weeks, and when you're going up, you're going up, you're going up. Now I've created a balance where I know if things are going a little bit too good right now, everything's going a little bit too smooth right now. So this is when you have to expect the unexpected, because anything can go wrong at any given time. Once you know that and you understand that, things get a lot better. Once you start praying, once you start realizing that God could change it up at any moment, the universe does not work in your favor. So anything can go wrong at any point in time. So just realize when you have really, really good moments, you're gonna have really, really down moments. But once you have the really, really down moments, and once you're really, really going down, the only way is right back up. So once you get that going, you understand that it's not so bad. Once you're down here, you're gonna have that. You need that, because you can't always be up here. You gotta come down and you gotta go back up. And that's really the beautiful thing about it, to be honest. A lot of people would ask as well. I would say, like, maybe are you questioning, or is it really worth it? I would honestly say yes, because at the end of the day, I think freedom is the most important thing to me specifically. And I might not be to you guys or anyone else, but I think freedom is probably one of the most important things to me. I don't have to have the most money in the world. Definitely something that solves a lot of problems, and it helps you, have that freedom essentially to do things that you want, whenever you want, however you want to do them. And like I said, to be able to enjoy your life essentially however you want. Now, don't get me wrong, that's good and all, but you still got to work, because we're nowhere where we want to be at. You got to keep the ball rolling essentially, to get where you want to get to, and to have the things that you want to have, whatever that is. Just to come to the conclusion of this video, advice that I would give to someone that's looking to start essentially is basically don't lose the path, to get where you want to get to. Focus on the things that matter. Focus on the things that matter to you. Essentially, don't really focus too much on so many distractions. Don't also do too many things at the same time. It took me a while to get to where I'm at. Like, this doesn't happen overnight. All these businesses and stuff, like whatever businesses you have going on, whatever you want to do, don't focus on this, don't focus on that. Focus on the one thing, start at that task and complete that task, then move on to the next thing. And whatever it is that you want to do, also remember to write it down before your day starts, or maybe at the end of the day for the next day, because then you have written it down, and you know that this is what has to get accomplished. And you have a better idea of what needs to get done, instead of just having it in your head. That's something I struggled with. I never really used to write anything down. I would just talk the talk instead of actually walking the walk. So write it down. I know that might to some people, they feel like they don't need to. That was me. I just thought I would just go do it, and I did do a lot of things just by doing them, but that doesn't allow you to be consistent for a long period of time. And I realized once you get into that habit and that routine of writing everything down and where you want to be at, over a certain period of time, whether that's by the end of the year, in 6 months, whatever the case is, you realize that, like, you're getting closer than you would have if you had not written it down in the first place. So write these things down. Essentially, like I said, focus on your health, your relationship with God, focus on also your wealth, and then also focus on your relationship with the people around you, because that's going to really, take you very, very far in life. Whether if you don't have friends or family, focus on like your inspiration to others, whether you're motivating people, dropping videos like this, going to church, whatever that is for you that helps you inspire and motivate others to do better. Keep that also going, and be able to consistently drop videos if you're dropping videos. Consistently be able to pray, consistently be able to go to your job, do it with your other businesses. Don't fall off track, because as soon as you fall off track, it becomes a snowball effect, and you lose control of really what really matters, like I said. So stay on track. That would be definitely my number one thing. Allow yourself to create a cycle of really good habits over time, and you'll get right where you need to get to. That's pretty much for today's video, guys. I really appreciate you guys for tuning in. Again, my name is Fresh and Def Jeff. If you haven't done so already, please comment, like, and subscribe below. If you got this far in the video, please drop down below. What should I say down below? Freedom. Comment down below freedom. Yeah, so I appreciate you guys tuning in. Like I said, please hit the thumbs up, because we need more videos. We going straight to the top. We ain't gonna stop. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.